Part 3. I know there's 4 videos, but this is part 3. So, okay. So here's some of my artwork. Because I don't have the fame and notoriety for native TikTok. So I do make these videos. These videos about my heritage. So I have right here, the I in the word indigenous don't mean that we are invisible. We are still here, and we ain't leaving this land, our land. Native water protectors also need protection. Stop Pipe 3. No Pipe 3, not on our native soil. No Pipe 3. That's supposed to be me. And how long I want my hair to get. Yeah, I know. Long way away from it. Alright? Yeah, that didn't work out the way I planned it. The name is Grey Wolf. That's Echo Fang Grey Wolf. Remember it, because that's what you're going to be knowing me by. The name is Echo Fang Grey Wolf. Remember it. Kung Fu Havoc number 2. EFG, because it's in alphabetical order. That's me. And a dragon, and how long I want my hair to be, and some of my favorite weapons are commas. Echo Fang Grey Wolf, Echo Fang Grey Wolf. Down here, Echo Fang Grey Wolf. R.I.P. to my government name, James Williams Jr. With native pride comes a new name, Echo Fang Grey Wolf. Remember it. This is to my crush. No, the girl that I'm madly in love with, who doesn't know I exist. I know, irrelevant. I also gave her a shout out in like the first video. Because I really want to marry Zeta Zhang. But this is important. Because my checks are still going to have this name. Until I find a legal way, or if I can get used to it and discuss it with my family. Of literally, my dad's dead now. I don't need to be a junior anymore. But I can be a new man. And be my own man. I know you're all thinking, what's the relevance of this? The relevance is that I am building myself out as a native. Not just for me, but for other natives. And for other people who are mixed. Who have no hero. Who have no place to stand. And no one to stand up for them. And then you wonder why I'm mad as hell to have infighting happening on TikTok. That is why. That is why we must push so hard to unite. I made a character once. His name was Onan. It stood for One Native American Nation. It was an acronym. I don't want anybody to steal that. So, it's in the shed somewhere. Out there with my graphic novel of Love 13. And somewhere on one of these little flash drives is American Code of Reach, which is being published by Page Publishing. Hopefully they'll let me know when it's edited and ready to go, so I can keep you guys informed. But the more important thing, the most important thing that you guys understand, that natives, if we don't stop fighting each other, we're not going to have to. Because there'll be none of us left to fight when the fight really needs to be fought. We need to stop pipelines. We need to stop them from the polluting of water. Because without water, we're dust. It's not going to matter if we're not here to protect the land, because there won't be any land. If there's no water to cultivate the food so that we can eat. If there's no water to cultivate the body so that we can live, then we have nothing. The sooner everybody gets a grip on that shit, the better off we'll be. The sooner we get rid of color wheels, You're not native enough because you're too light. You're not native enough because you're too dark. You're not native enough because you're not pure blood. You're not native enough because you're mixed with black. You're not native enough because you're mixed with white. You're not native enough. You're not native enough. You're not native enough. I'm not going to keep hearing I'm not native enough, because I'm still going to be native until I die. The Cherokee fire that burns within me cannot be extinguished by a few words. Yeah, I may come in my room and I may cry. I may make songs about crying. That does not change that my native blood still burns deep. And it burns to honor my ancestors, both female natives. I think we all need to take a knee on the infighting. I think we all need to take a knee on things that don't need to be fought over. Natives, stop fighting. On TikTok, stop fighting. We need to reserve our history. We need to reserve our culture. We need to make sure that that shit stays preserved. And we need to get back artifacts that were stolen. We need to get back bodies that were stolen. We need to get back everything that is rightfully ours. And I am not trying to incite a riot, so don't nobody come at me with that shit. I'm just making a video. I'm also a member of the military. Well, I'm a vet, so I'm always going to be a member of the military. So I know the laws. You know, I'm not trying to radicalize anybody, so this is me covering my ass, just in case my words actually have influence on anybody, which I'm pretty sure it doesn't, since I only have 134 people here. But this is me covering my ass, just in case. No riots, just unity. Now here's the thing. You have thousands upon thousands of missing and murdered indigenous people, and some of them rarely make it home, if at all. Where everyone else goes out of their way to find other people. You have thousands among thousands of missing black people who never make it home. And as I tell my nieces and nephews, and I hate to say this shit on YouTube, but I'm going to say it because it's the truth. Kids of color don't make good bargaining chips. Especially the darker toned kids. Even the little Asian kids don't make good bargaining chips. Native kids don't make good bargaining chips. Kids of color just don't make good bargaining chips. Because no one really gives a shit about us. Even more so if you're male. See, the one thing that I hate to have to tell my nieces and other young ladies is that you have value because you're a woman. But me, my nephews and all that shit, they're going to kill us. They're not going to give two shits about us because we're male. Just another male. Throw them in a hole. No, not going to give shit about us because we are male. But the advantage of being female is a disadvantage to the kidnapped female, because you're going to be tortured. You're going to be sexually assaulted. And it's not going to be a one-time thing. It's going to be an every chance they get thing. And speaking of that, a woman is sexually assaulted every 10 minutes. And I may be off on that. It might be less than that. It might be every 10 seconds. I'm not going to swear to it because I don't have the ability to give you an exact time of that. And Google isn't 1,000% right, but you can Google it. Let's do that. Google, how many times is a woman sexually assaulted? 1 in 6 every 68 seconds. I don't know why the damn thing didn't talk, but it says it right there. But you can't read it because it's all in white. 80% of women in Washington sexually assaulted experienced prior to the age of 18. More than 33% of the women in Washington state have been sexually assaulted. And the list goes on and on. Nearly 1 in 5 women experience a completed assault or rape, etc., etc. Triple that for women of color. Triple that for missing and murdered indigenous females. So we need to stop fighting each other and start focusing on that shit. And when I say to the famous natives that have made it, get off your ass and start participating in some of this, because once I make it, that's going to be one of my top priorities. It has to be. Because you just don't know. We spend a lot of our time watching movies and stories, and we never watch things that involve natives. We never really watch things that involve black people, and if it does involve black people, the black person unfortunately always either has to be the bad guy, the hustler, the dirtbag, the scumbucket, the drug dealer, the thug. Where's the heroes? Well, we have one, Falcon. We had another, but hashtag boycott T'Challa or recast T'Challa or whatever. Just follow Theo Butler, he can help you. But I'm with him on that, because we really don't have enough black heroes at all. So when we get them, we have to appreciate them. Because make no mistake, I am part native, but I'm also part black. And though I will be billing myself out as a native for the rest of my career, it is high time that we get this shit done. First, in the color wheel. In the mixed native, full native fighting. Second, start uniting over native causes, protecting the water protectors, protecting the native land, protecting the native missing and murdered indigenous females and males. Because these things generally happen when something comes across native land. But no one thinks to look into that. No one. They just caught someone with Pt3 trying to sequester a 16-year-old native girl who wound up being agents of the government to arrest some pipeline workers. Good job. But you need to do better. You need to put as much influence in this as you did for the late Miss Petito. It sucks ass that I have to make a video like this, because I have nothing against white people or black people or natives in general. I have something against racist people. You know, if you're racist, we are not friends. Unless, and I will say this, I will make an exception to this rule. If you are openly racist and you let me know, I can't stand you because you're mixed. I can't stand you because you're black. I can't stand you because you're native. I can't stand you because you're white. I can't stand you because you're Asian. See, if you're openly racist, I'm actually cool with that. Because I don't have to worry about that knife coming to my back. I already know it's going to be straight to the face. But see, undercover racists, they're the ones I have to worry about. And we all have our prejudice. And no race in general is above being racist. Don't think that you are. Don't ever let someone tell you that native people can't be racist. Don't ever let someone tell you that black people can't be racist. Don't ever let someone tell you that Asian people can't be racist. Don't let anybody tell you Hispanics or whites or blacks or any human species under the sun can't be racist. Because 1 in every 20 people that you know is probably a racist. And the reason why I say probably is because they might not be racist at work. Hell, they might not be racist on the block. But you don't know what happens when that fucking door closes. You don't know how they're raising their children. And the only example I can give you is that one time, and I'll say this with pride and shame, one time in the 3rd grade, I'm going to not use the words used on me. One time in the 3rd grade, I had these 2 white friends. Technically, there was 3. One of the white friends, her name started with a J, just like mine. She decided to say something to me that she probably should have never said. Now, mind you, we're in the 3rd grade. We're in Miss Davis' class. Or at least in a class before we go to Miss Davis or after Miss Davis. And young J says to, well, young female J says to young male J, James, you're an N. James, being a martial artist and a street fighter, not knowing how to control his emotions, or his impulse, or his reflexes, stands there for about 2.5 seconds. By the time the ER gets off her mouth, boom! My left hand is in it. A little blood trickled down my knuckles. It wasn't my blood. It's hers. I've never truly forgiven myself for that because you don't hit women. Alright? Regardless of the fact that we were both kids in grade school. But she called me a word that I had been taught all my life was a bad word. To not let anybody call me that. But my older sister was no longer in that school. In fact, she was like 3 years older, so if I was in the 3rd grade, she was like in the 6th grade. So she was long gone. You know. And my dumb ass hit this girl in the mouth for calling me the N-word. Before I knew it, my 2 friends, a J and an R, both ran over there and took care of female J. Now, the other male J, white guy, didn't like me after that. He didn't want to fight me because he knew I knew karate, but he had some harsh words for me. They weren't as bad as the words she said, but I knew I wasn't a bastard. But to him, I was a bastard. The female R, who was consoling female J, walked her over to the teacher in charge at the time, who sent male BJ, which would be me, male black James, to the office to talk to Mr. Garrett. God rest your soul, Mr. Garrett, and if you're still alive, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So I go to the office. Mr. Garrett was talking to me. And he kept asking me, and he kept asking me, and he kept asking me. And now this was before I found out I was part Native. And he goes, "You've never been in trouble here. In your entire time you've been in my school, you've never been in trouble, you've never raised your voice, you never hit anybody. Why did you hit her?" I stood there in silence, because I was like scared. And I didn't know how to tell him because that was a word I was taught to never even let fly out my mouth. About 15 minutes in, though, he didn't interrogate me, but, he found ways to break my defenses. "Is it something that you're not allowed to say?" "I give you permission. I have authority over your parent while you're in school." So I let him know. No, she called me the N-word. He said, "What?" "She called me the N-word." Looked at me, gave me a tissue to wipe the blood off my knuckle, sent me back to class. But at the end of the day, her and I were both separated as we both sat in the class. She also had to go to the nurse's office, which is in the same office, just on the other side of the office. So our parents were called in. They thought my mom was white. So we're going to say white privilege does exist a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, funny thing. They're in there arguing or having an adult discussion. And the girl's parent says, "Well, if his mom is white and we're all white, why did he hit my daughter?" And you can hear my mom say, "First and foremost, I'm not white. I'm just incredibly light. That woman needs to come back into my life. But the current one I can deal with. But that woman laid down the law in that room. And she says, first, I taught my son to never hit girls. Under no circumstances should he ever hit girls. Unless something really bad happened, my son would not have hit your daughter." So then the principal stepped in and said, "Miss Williams," and she corrected him because she was Rose again. "No, Rose. Yeah, okay, Miss Rose, calm down. Your son's not going to be in trouble today. Like, at all. Because something really did bad happen. Their daughter called him a very bad word. That's preposterous. Our daughter would never call anybody a bad word. What was the word that our daughter possibly called this young man?" The N-word. Only he didn't do what I just did. He used the full word. I'm sure all four of them were probably as red as my Spider-Man jacket. Yeah, they probably all were a little red in there, not just from embarrassment and shame, but probably anger. And Mr. Garrett told my mom to sit down. And he said, look, I got this. Your son's not in trouble. After this meeting, you can take him out for ice cream as far as I'm concerned. No, we didn't go get ice cream. We just went straight home, and I actually did not get an ass whooping for it. And he said, first and foremost, I would not be tolerating any of that shit in my school. Even though we were having a race war the entire time, from like the 2nd grade to like the 4th grade. We were still having a race war. It just wasn't superficial and it wasn't super big physically. A lot of arguing, a lot of hating on blacks and whites and the one half-breed in school, which was me. So, the parents was like, that's preposterous. Our daughter would never say that. And he's like, do you teach your daughter these things at home? Well, even if we do, we told her never to bring that stuff to school. And he said, and that's exactly why she got hit in the mouth. Because she brought it to school. I don't care what you do at home. No, he drilled that in. I don't give a damn what you do at home. But if you want your daughter to keep her teeth, I advise you to tell her that she should probably only say that shit at home. Because she's going to say that to the wrong person. What happened today might be a lot worser when it's somebody just a little bit bigger than her. Somebody who doesn't know right from wrong or doesn't give a damn. Don't let her come back to the school bringing that shit to my school. I think she finished out the semester and I never saw her again. And now you want to know why I'm bitching about the infighting on TikTok. Because I've been there. Been there, done that. I've been picked on all my life from kindergarten to college. Sometimes it still happens. Because I am multicultural. And if we don't stop, we're just going to get worse. And I want you guys to think about that little story. And I want you to take it with you wherever you go. Because I didn't know I was Native until the fucking 5th grade. That only got worse from there. Because now, they had something new to call me. No longer was I half-breed. It was a little Indian boy. Sometimes Tonto in an insulting measure. But when I got to college, didn't have to deal with that. But when I was in high school and had to start working, oh, you'd have no many times that I have been called chief. I hate being called chief. Being called chief is worse than being called the N-word. Worse than being called half-breed. Because it was a constant reminder of something I'm never going to achieve. I am never going to be the chief of any tribe. I am not of royal blood. I have had to deal with racism all my life. I'm so sick of it. So sick of it. What I'm more sick of is the inability to change everyone, to make them respect everyone, to accept everyone for who we are. Try to remember that. If you don't remember anything else from these 4 videos, technically there are 3 videos, but if you don't remember anything from them, take away respect people for who and what they are. I'm multicultural. I'm billing myself out as a Native American actor from now on because I don't have a choice. James E. Williams Jr. has not been getting acting work. But Echo Fang Grey Wolf is about to turn the tides. Thanks for watching. It's Kung Fu Having number 2. Be seeing you.